Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured, why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, in every episode description, to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say, I'm watching so-and-so show. And then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it. And that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 1, Episode 8, the season finale, the Season 1 finale. There's going to be 2 seasons of Paramount Plus's 1923, entitled Nothing Left to Lose. I think I want to start by talking about how I feel like this show didn't really live up to what I expected it to be. You know, Yellowstone was what it was, and it now currently is what it is. I know that's a very vague, kind of all-encompassing, like, what does that mean kind of statement, but Yellowstone is what it is. 1883 came along and gave me something fresh, something new, something compelling. I hadn't seen anything like this before. I was super invested in 1883. Now 1923 comes, and 1923 feels like it has all of the goals and aspirations of 1883, but is pulling like season 5 Yellowstone caliber content. And that's a little bit too harsh. It's better than this current season of Yellowstone, but there's a lot to not like here, which sucks because there's so much to like. They're still trying to tell a different, unique, and compelling story. They still have just like, it's a gorgeous show to watch all the time. Just these locations, it's incredible. And it could have been great. And instead, it has all of these unforced errors and not all of these bad characters. One historically all-time bad character. And there's just so many unforced errors with this show. And there's a lot to like about it. I loved everything that had to do with the Tiona story, part of the storyline. The Jake stuff. A little, I think, like you know how I was ranting last video about the heavy-handed political commentary, that kind of stuff. Too prevalent in the Jake storyline. It feels very shoehorned in. And the Spencer and Alex stuff. Spencer's great. Alex sucks. But I want to start by actually giving an example of what I'm talking about when I say that this show has a lot of unforced errors. We open this episode with Spencer and Alex getting onto this giant boat. I guess they're leaving Italy. Now, if you're anything like me, you saw that opening shot and you went, hey, wait a minute. The last time we saw them, they were approached by, I'm never going to learn his real name. He's Sheldon Cooper. Alex's ex-fiance or whatever. They're approached by Sheldon and he's like, Alexandra. And then she's like, ah. And then the episode ends. And then when we come back, they're just getting on a boat. Like, we don't get to see what happened in that interaction. Like, you didn't think that was important? You're just like, yeah, let's just skip way the fuck ahead. Like, that is an unforced error. Like, both me and my wife immediately were like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't right. What's happened? Like, it makes you feel like you missed a scene or you missed an episode. And I don't, like, what irritates me about those sorts of things is how many people watched that and didn't give a shit to say, like, hey, that's really weird to end the episode this way, start the next episode this way, and with no acknowledgement of what could have happened in between. That's gonna be even worse if you're somebody who ends up binge watching this later. That's good. Like if you smooth transition right from 7 into 8, you'll be like, what is this? And it was noticeable for me with the week in between. So like that kind of shit, like that I don't know, just a ridiculous unforced error. But let's move on to talk about Tiona, because I thought the Tiona stuff continued to be good this week. It's been good every week. Her dad finds her, and we see that the priests that were hunting her have been scalped and have child killer written on them because, of course, that was God's will, right? That's what he said. And Pete, yes, I confirm his name is Pete, is getting awfully cozy with Tiona at the campfire, and Dad doesn't approve. He says she needs to focus on surviving, which is true. She does. And then she's like, after the experiences I've had, I'm focused on the right now. And that's also true. That's a fair thing to say and a justifiable way to feel. And then they start to cuddle, and it's kind of like, you think it's about to get inappropriate because her dad's sleeping right next to them with his back turned. We see he's clearly wide awake. But then we hear Tiona finally break down and cry. And I thought this was a pretty powerful moment because Tiona's been such a badass this entire season that I didn't even consider that she hadn't cried. And like, that's just something that I think what we're supposed to take from that is she finally felt safe enough to allow herself that emotional release. And I thought that was nice. Like, I thought, like, it's, they talk about like check on your strong friend. Tiona's the strong friend, and she needed somebody to check on her. And now she got her moment to be checked on by Pete. Not in that way. And it helped her, and she was able to get that release. So I thought that was a really good moment for Tiona, really powerful moment considering everything that she's dealt with in this first season. I can't tell. I feel like no, it's not. All right. I feel like my shit was out of focus. Anyway, their story ends with the decision to go to Wyoming. The sheriff, who has been with the priest and has been hunting Tiona and Pete and whoever else, says that they think they know what reservation that Tiona and Pete and her dad are going to try to go to, and they're going to try to beat them there by taking a train. And I'm just wondering, like, why are you so obsessed with these 3 people? Like, you don't just let them go? Like what? You're going to take a train to Wyoming? Like, you ain't got nothing better to do. Like, there's no episodes or nothing good coming on. And for you to watch that night, you're just going to take a train to Wyoming to catch 3 people? Like, you don't have enough people. Like, the school's already full of people. Like, you don't need this run and rollee who escaped. Like, I don't know. They're really obsessed with catching Tiona. Now, I'm a little surprised by that. Now, if you look at it from the perspective of they're trying to catch somebody who killed someone, then yeah. But, like, this doesn't feel like noble law enforcement. This feels like racism. So, like, super racism. So, I'm not willing to give that pass. Moving on to Timothy Dalton's character, Whitfield, I think his name is. Whitfield? I don't know. Whitmore, I think it is. I've already stated my general opposition to how lazily I think the show is trying to show us that his character is evil. But they turned it up a notch in the finale here by continuing the Whip the Hooker storyline. And this week, he tells the person who up to this point has been doing the whipping that the fun or the pleasure comes in the power, the ability to do that, and them not being able to do anything back about it. He has her resume the whipping after telling her, like, look, it's the power that's supposed to get you off. And now she's getting horny off of it. And I don't know if she was faking that for Dalton's benefit or if all of a sudden she was like, yeah, I'm really digging the power. I don't know. But then he makes him switch, and the woman who has been getting beaten this whole time now is the beater, and she goes to town. Of course. And why wouldn't she? But I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to... I don't really feel like I'm supposed to take anything away from this other than that Timothy Dalton's character is an asshole. And I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather see... I don't know, like the stuff, like the lawyer stuff, like having the lawyer get Brown out of jail, like those kind of slippery things. I'd rather see that. This felt like, again, very heavy-handed. Like, hey, if you didn't already know this guy was a bad guy, we're gonna really, I'm gonna say it. We're really gonna beat the dead horse here and have these women continue to beat the shit out of each other, and he doesn't even care, and he's just gonna do it just because he just likes it. He doesn't even like it. I don't even think he likes it. He's just like, yeah, he just does it because he can. Moving on to Jake. I have a question I want to pose to you guys to Jake, but I want to talk about this first. He goes to town. He wants to get a loan, a cattle loan. They've already established how in dire straits the ranch is, but the bank doesn't want to do cattle loans anymore. They think they're too risky, and Jay's kind of like, well, I've always paid mine back. But he's like, no, I think we're done with cattle loans. Why don't you get a mortgage? And of course, Jake is anti-mortgages because mortgages are new and scary. And he's like, I don't know if I want to do all that. He'd rather do like spit in his hand and do a handshake instead of getting a mortgage. But what I wanted to ask you guys, I'm wondering how we're supposed to feel or how we're supposed to see Jake at this point. Like, are we supposed to feel sorry for him? Like, is he an old man who's just watching the world pass him by? And we're like, oh man, the world's just passing him by. He's old and he doesn't even get what's going on. Because that's not how it's coming off to me. He comes off to me as foolish and stubborn. And someone who is bullheadedly resisting change. And I don't know if that's me putting my own feelings onto the character because I'm now noticing that people struggle. Like, as I get older, I notice people in my peer group struggling with that as well. They think that the way they were raised, if they turned out okay, then that is the correct way to do things. It's just the way that things were done when you were a kid. Things are different now. Just like the music you liked as a kid is gonna sound whack to the people who are kids now, and the music they like is gonna sound whack to you. It's just change. It's just evolution. But there's people who just don't accept that. But it's because they're not looking at it as like, I don't like change. They think it's wrong. And that's what Jake seems like. Jake seems like he thinks everything that's not what he's used to is wrong. And granted, if you're if you're 80 years old or whatever, and it's 1923, so you've been 80, you were born in 1843, there's not a whole lot of advancements coming along during that time. He's probably spent his 80 years probably living like the exact same life. So when he's coming into these situations and these things are familiar to him, it is kind of understandable that he wouldn't take to it very easily. But I don't know, he just comes off as stubborn to me and foolish. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be feeling that way or I'm supposed to be feeling sorry for him. But let me know what you think. I don't know. Speaking of characterizations I hate, it's time to talk about Alex. For whatever reason, Alex decides she's tired of hiding from Sheldon, and she decides she wants to have dinner in the grand hall with Spencer right in front of him. She dresses up like a lounge singer and brings Spencer to this dinner and is like parading him around in front of Sheldon. And Sheldon correctly points out to his father, he's like, yo, she's being an asshole. She's parading Spencer around like, what the fuck? And which is exactly what she's doing. And the dad is basically like, yo, count your blessings, my guy. Like, if she's doing that, you dodged a bullet. But he's more upset. He being Sheldon, I'm not going to learn his name. Why bother? He's more upset about the affront to him. Like, everything that she's doing is an insult to him. So his pride is what's causing this. Because the dad's right. Like, you dodged a bullet. Alex is terrible. I can't stand watching 2 scenes of her per week. You dodged living with her for the rest of your life. Like, that's a win, buddy. But when Alex explains to Spencer why she's doing this, she says something to the effect of, that was the girl in me before, this is the woman. And I'm just like, he ain't do shit to you. Like, why are you acting like you need to take revenge on him? Like, you ran out on him on your wedding day. He accidentally discovered you somewhere, and now you're acting like, I don't understand why she's so indignant. Like, nothing has been done to her. Absolutely nothing. She has only ruined other people's lives. And yet, for some reason, she's like, this is the woman. Like, nobody did anything to you. Like, I hate this character, and I hate the fact that this show wants us to see her in a certain way, but they don't fucking put it on the screen. That's what irritates me. That's not on the screen. Like, I think the show wants me to look at Alex as like a good person, or like somebody who's like, oh, she's adorable. I love their relationship together. But every single decision made by Alex on this show has been a bad one. Every single one is either put Spencer in more danger, put him in danger, put him in more danger, or put him in even more danger. Every single decision she's made, that's been the result. And like, I can't watch a character be willfully stupid for 8 episodes, and I'm supposed to sit here and be like, and think that she's cute, or think that she's adorable, or think their relationship is cute. She's a blithering idiot. I hate this character. they write these cute little lines for her. You know, this is the woman in me. And the things men fail to tell you and they're trying to bed you. Like, okay, with no concern that there's not a single iota of support for these lines in the show. Like I said last week, and they're trying to bed you. He tried to ditch you like 3 times. Like, what are you talking about? The line doesn't work. And that's why I don't like this show the way I like the other ones. Even Yellowstone doesn't insult me with this shit. Like, Yellowstone doesn't even deliver lines this bad. Not saying lines this bad. The line itself is fine if it works, but that's not on the screen. They just think like, oh, she's a cute character. Let's give her a cutesy wootsy line and make her look all strong and fierce, even though there's nothing strong and fierce about her whatsoever. Like, what are you talking about? They did not write a good character, and it drives me crazy that people actually think this is a good character. This is a all-time terrible character. Like, I can't with this shitty fucking character, man. So Sheldon challenges Spencer to a duel, and which replete with glove slap and everything. Was awesome. Ultimately, after he's defeated, despite Spencer having no experience with swords, he decides he's gonna pull the toast out, and Spencer's like, nah. Spencer throws him overboard. Like, no, we're not doing that today. They want to arrest Spencer for doing what needed to be done. And Alex, like, I swear on my honor that Spencer was defending himself. And both me and Sheldon's dad are like, what honor? You are not honorable. You have spit in this guy's face at every opportunity, this Sheldon character. He ain't done nothing to you, at least not on screen. Maybe prior to episode 1 he did. But nothing we've seen on screen has shown us that character deserves the treatment that Alex has given him. And she's like, my honor. Honor? This bitch ain't got no fucking honor, dog. Anyway, Spencer gets thrown off the boat. Not literally. He gets I don't want to say excused, but like basically they confirmed that he didn't do anything wrong. But because Sheldon's family is rich and powerful or whatever, they still want him off the boat and they want Alex on it. So they kick him off the boat. Alex runs to meet him and she's like, I meet you in Bozeman. And I'm like, they went from Africa to Italy in the whole season. Like, the goal was Africa to Montana. They went Africa to Italy in the whole season. You're gonna need season 5 before you can get to Bozeman. Like what are we doing right now? Like, you're not gonna get to Bozeman. Where was I? The thing about getting from Italy to Bozeman, the thought that I had about that too is that I thought I wanted the Spencer storyline to be me seeing how this guy who had this experience in Africa, hunting animals, how he was going to take those skills and save this ranch. And now I'm understanding, no, the Spencer story is just his journey to Montana. He's probably going to get to Bozeman at the end of the season 2. And I'd be okay with that if he didn't have such a horrific travel companion. But I mean, maybe she won't be. I mean, she probably won't be with him next season, right? If it takes him till the end of the season to get to Bozeman, and that's where she gonna meet him at. I don't know. Maybe I want to put up with at least them together. Maybe I could get a season of her having like bad things happen to her. That I would love that. And then lastly, Timothy Dalton's character, Moorefield, I don't know. He arrives at the Dutton Ranch and he talks up the future, predicting crazy things like tourism. And that just made me laugh. I don't know. He's like, one day there's gonna be tourism. But we learned that he paid off Jake's back taxes, his property taxes, and if Jake can't pay him back, the ranch goes to Whitfield. So I think that Whitmore, whatever. So that's how we end the season. And I'm gonna close out with a couple of thoughts, and then I will see you guys for season 2, which I will watch. I don't know if I'll cover it, but I'll watch it. I love how life is passing Jake by, and they show us him not having a place to park his horse because there's only parking for cars. He's like old man frustrated. Where am I supposed to park my horse? It's like, man, you go get the fuck on. I'm gonna give this as much respect as the show did. And not because I'm trying to be mean, but because I want to point out how little respect the show gave this moment. Elizabeth loses her baby. And for one, that raises all sorts of questions about the Dutton bloodline. Like, I thought that kid was gonna be John's grandfather, father? Yeah, that kid would have been John's father, I believe, right? Maybe. Yeah, that kid would be John's father. Now I'm thinking Alex is gonna get pregnant by Spencer, and that's gonna be John's father. I don't want Alex to be that involved. I was hoping that character was gonna die. But I don't like how casually the doctor mentioned this. He's like, "Oh yeah, she's okay. Flush the baby though, but yeah, she's okay." I'm like, "Flushed the baby? What? Like, what is that a literal term? Like, or is that like a slang term to say like, oh, she lost the baby?" But did she? No, she didn't. She didn't flush it, right? I don't know. The plot line they had with the guy in Jake's crew and his wife getting arrested for having sex with a white man. What was the point of that? Like, I guess that was meant to show us that that was a way they're gonna come at Jake, is to come at one of his people. But like, oh, that was weird. That was weird. I like when Jake talked about hating getting old and his body betraying him. I can relate. And the final, I think the exclamation point on this season, or the moment that I think defines this season really well, happens toward the end of the episode. It's when Sheldon, Spencer, and Alex are doing their performative thing about how they're not gonna they're gonna find each other in Montana, and it's just she starts fighting people, he starts fighting people, and then the captain somebody looks at the captain and goes, "You may question the legality, but it's difficult to question their sincerity." And I'm like, that is the corniest line, and what a perfect way to end a corny show that had no awareness of how terrible this entire plot line was. That was the perfect way to end it, with that incredibly shitty line. Like, difficult to question the sincerity, where it looked so wildly performative. Like, it didn't even look like any real people would behave like that. And I thought that was the perfect way, because of that tone deaf, I can't see shit, I have no idea what's happening, I'm gonna say that was wonderful. That's not what I saw. I saw two people being wildly overdramatic. But okay, sure, yeah, it's difficult to question their sincerity. Anyway, I will see you guys maybe for season 2. Like I said, I'm at least watch about it, so it'll pop up on Mike's Music or something like that. I will see you guys for season 2. Let me know what you thought about season 1. Am I tripping? Did you love it? Let me know, and I will see you guys next year. Peace.